Shanks' evil twin brother wants Prince Loki, and the Holy Knights will do anything and everything in their power to achieve this goal. And this power is busted, because in one swing, the female knight instantly submits the giant guards. But her actions have led me to an insane realization which will help us uncover the secrets behind Imu's efforts to take over Elbaf, because my man Loki did nothing wrong. He was framed, and I have the evidence that will help beat all the allegations. Not to mention, Oda might have already given us all the hints regarding Pranks' mythical zoan devil fruit. Jumping into the chapter, everyone is shocked at how big the books of Elbaf are. And instead of the enlarging of books being a technological feat, turns out it's just a devil fruit of Bibelot, the head librarian owl, who has been converting books for centuries using his rear fruit, which is able to make non-living objects, or maybe even living objects like humans, giant size. We also get a hint by Oda that the new bounties of the crew will soon be revealed, as Saul weirdly explains the newspaper doesn't come to Elbaf since it's not part of the world government, but sometimes fishermen find it and bring it back to be gigantified. While Luffy is running amok with the kids, Chopper and Robin are excited in their own right due to all of this archaeological and medical knowledge they might uncover in the vast library of the giants. However, the books on giant medicine were big to begin with, so Chopper will have a bit of trouble deciphering it all. Then Luffy and Usopp get scolded by Nami for scaring the giant kids with their rudeness. These kids are so scared, in fact, that they go straight into having their face be pressed against the two-piece we really desire. I'm with Luffy and Usopp here, alright? These brats are a massive letdown. What happened to the warrior spirit?
It should have been me, not him!
These kids would not survive in the asylum they grew us in, alright? They are not surviving Black Ops 2 lobbies on the 360.
It's enough to make a grown man cry. But not this man. Get back in there, Tia.
However, I don't know if that's such a bad thing, because loving peace and being kind is what makes unity possible. But if you become too peaceful, the world government might just roll you over. Remember, the reason Elbaf has been left alone for over 800 years is because it takes almost all of Imu's resources to try and subjugate such a strong country. So it makes me wonder if the neutering of Elbaf's warrior culture might be a government plan. But not everyone is like these kids, because my man Colon sneaks up on Luffy thinking he outmaneuvered an Emperor of the Sea, which just leads to Bruz being smashed to the ground with Gear 3. I can't get out of here.
This is trash.
Luckily, Luffy didn't actually hit the kid, but that doesn't stop the other giant babies to cry and call our boy a meanie. However, the kid who actually got packed is ecstatic to meet an Emperor of the Sea, as he is the resident delinquent. If you guys remember back in chapter 1076, this is the same kid who wanted to join Shanks' crew. So he's well acquainted with pirates from the outside and is a parallel to Luffy as a kid, but for the giant side. Furthermore, Ripley scolds the boy to not cause such a scene, at the same time complimenting his strike. You're not really scolding him. Colin then gives Ripley the basket of food he was carrying, as they contain all her favorites. Now, at this point, all of us are thinking the same thing, right guys? Miss Ripley is a baddie. He brought his favorite biology teacher some food. Nope, turns out Miss Ripley is actually Colin's mother, which shocks everyone, including me. But the bigger shock comes when Colin reveals that his father is actually a human, so we all have a chance. Apparently, he used to be a pirate and didn't fear anyone, not even the warriors of Elbaf, which makes me think that we're talking about Scopper Gabon. Which other pirates fits this description? Like, to get with a giant like Ripley, you'd have to be an S-tier pirate from decades ago, as giant children take way longer to grow. So my guess is after the Roger Pirates disbanded, Scopper Gabon made his way to Elbaf, smashed Miss Ripley using the owl's rear fruit powers, and the rest is history. Furthermore, since we now know Colin's father is a human, it's also confirmed that this individual is still in Elbaf, as if we go back to chapter 1032, when Colin got the food from the bartender, she also gave him his father's favorites to him. So we are very close to meeting Scopper Gabon. It just fits, alright? And this party is gonna go on for 3 days, and I'm pretty sure we will see Gabon showing up, especially since his powers have to do do with axes and just how pivotal role axes play in Norse culture, it just makes sense. Even the fact of Gabon being the one marked by flames that could know the history and secrets behind the road poneglyphs and the history of the world, it's Gabon, alright? I would bet money on it. Okay, can we stop with the dragon coming to Egghead thing being wrong? I get it, alright? Like, I got betrayed by my man. I stay loyal. He's coming to Elbaf. Let's move on. That's all I'm gonna say about Dragon this chapter review, this episode. They will come and get me if I speak more. So let's move on. Everyone starts to make their way out of the library and onto the feast, except Robin, Saul, Bonnie, and Lilith. Robin and Saul want to talk more about the books saved from Ohara, while Oda confirms Bonnie is not joining the Straw Hats as she and Lilith are going to get their residency permits in Elbaf. Gerd also gives the rest of the Straw Hats not captured by Rodo their Elbaf outfits to sell more figurines for Shueisha. However, we then quickly cut to the Quest Castle near the Western Village. This is where those hooded individuals from last chapter were teleported to. At the castle, they are stopped by some giant guards inquiring what they want and if they are part of the Straw Hat crew. The girl of the group is pretty forward in saying that they are looking for Loki, which prompts the giants to start laughing at why would anyone want to meet such a criminal that made their country suffer so greatly by slaying their own father, King Harold. That's why their castle is so empty. She asks if they can reveal to them the location of Loki, but it's an instant refusal since the humans might help Loki escape. Now, I have had my doubts about Loki being the dangerous criminal that everyone keeps labeling him since the moment we met him. I instead believe that Loki was actually framed by none other than Shanks' evil twin, Pranks. He pranked Loki. Let me explain. You know, earlier when I said, what if the government is involved in taking the warrior out of the culture of Elbaf? Well, I believe this might have been going on for over 60 years, all the way back during the time of Mother Carmel, who was secretly working for the government by giving Cypher Pole orphaned children with good lineage factors before Big Mom ate her. Look at this panel of Ja Rule 63 years ago. He points out that decades ago, Mother Carmel was talking about the same ideas of trade which King Harold vouched for before his death. The old king often butted heads with the graybeards of Elbaf who still cherished their warrior cultures. So what if the bitchifying of Elbaf is actually a government psyop to make the giants so docile that if the giants become weak and don't have the strength left, then naturally pirates will jump the island trying to plunder. So then the Marines will have to swoop in to help the giants of Elbaf defend against the pirates in exchange for heavenly tribute. And some giants will be forced to become Marine soldiers, as we saw with Kaido being sold off to them by his own king. This is right up Emu and the government's playbook, as they even have a history of tricking giants into doing their bidding, as we saw with Oimo and Kashi that were tricked into guarding Eni's lobby for their bosses who were supposedly in prison when they were having their 100-year duel in Little Garden. Now, I'm not saying trading with other islands and not being as violent isn't a good thing. However, if your island's entire existence and autonomy relies on you having strong warriors, making Emu think twice before launching an assault, then it does pose a problem when you lose those strong warriors over time as the culture shifts. What if Loki had found out about this plot and instead he was framed by the Holy Knights as being Harold's killer? He already had a bad reputation since birth, and having the king who wants openness and trade with everyone to die a martyr would definitely strengthen his agenda, which aligned with the government. Just last week, Loki had a Discord call with someone named Shaggy, who pointed out Loki's inward kindness, which he desperately tries to hide with the whole "I am a badass warrior" routine, which might be a hint by Oda that Loki isn't all that bad. Plus, what if the reason Loki hates Shanks so much is because Evil Shank was the one who killed his father and framed Loki? Since they both look identical, Loki thought it was the real Shanks that did the deed. However, since Shanks has a good reputation with the giants, no one would believe Loki. It's kind of like with Usopp calling for pirates over and over again until no one believes him because everyone has a preconceived notion of him as a liar. And with Elbaf backwards being Fable and the connections of Usopp with the giants, I wonder if Oda is making Elbaf a mirror of Syrup Village, with Loki crying wolf that Shanks killed his father, which no one believes but is actually technically true. Coming back to the chapter though, the female holy knight smacks the giant with likely a whip, bringing them to the ground and cementing themselves as being so strong that they could one-shot giants. Furthermore, she now orders them, not asks them, to reveal Loki's location, meaning that whip has some truth-saying properties. Which brings my mind straight to Wonder Woman and her lasso of truth. What if this female knight has similar powers to Wonder Woman, including her whip, which is enhanced by a devil fruit that makes you obey her? With the government losing a lot of fighters recently, even a member of the Gorosei, plus taking a massive L at Egghead, they are in dire need of strong warriors. So they could have sent Pranks and his girl to bring Loki with a bounty of 2.6 billion and a busted devil fruit towards their side. Furthermore, I believe that Shanks' evil twin also has a busted devil fruit, a direct contrast to his brother whose entire crew has no one with devil fruits. And this fruit of Pranks has the power to turn him into an alpha, a sigma boy that can become a wolf. Look, all of the Gorosei have some broken mythical zoan fruits. Likely that's the thing which connects them to Emu. And of course, Shanks' brother, the next leader of the Holy Knights, whose sole purpose is to serve Emu directly, has to have a busted mythical zoan, which I believe to be the mythical Inu Inu no Mi model Hati. Hati is a wolf destined to chase and eventually devour the moon during Ragnarok, symbolizing darkness and chaos overcoming celestial order. With his father, Saint Figarland Garling, representing the moon, and Pranks taking his leadership role at the Holy Knights after Garling's promotion to take Saturn's Gorosei seat, thematically it fits. Furthermore, after gaining this new post, it seems Emu and the Holy Knights are taking actions to stir things up in the world, which will eventually lead us to a world war or Ragnarok between the government forces and the pirates like Luffy, where at the end, the celestial world order will be destroyed. Now, what kind of abilities can we expect Hati to have? Well, it would definitely allow the user to transform into a monstrous wolf resembling Hati, embodying lunar and shadow energy. The powers could involve manipulating shadows, perhaps giving the user the ability to chase light sources, eclipsing or extinguishing them temporarily. With Pranks wearing a hood, and if my theory about the government psyop against Loki is true, then Pranks working from the shadows also fits the Hati theory, where bro sneaks up from the shadows, creates chaos like the mythical wolf. Yeah, Yusuf has not verified any of this. Yusuf doesn't even know what I'm yapping about right now. Finally, the chapter ends with us meeting Ja Rule, who is the oldest living giant in Elbaf, clocking in at 408 years, meaning his grandpa or even his father was alive during the Void Century. However, bro has a whole sword stuck in his head. What the hell? If you enjoyed this, watch the One Piece video on screen right now, bro. Hey, I told Yusuf what I was gonna talk about. He still hasn't replied on Discord. Like, I have to voice and give editors the files. Like, come on, it's a crackpot theory, but tell me in the comments, like, it has some merits, right? Like, it's a government psyop. Like, Loki is being framed. He is beating the allegations. Who's with me? Free my boy Loki. Put it in the comments if you agree with my crackpot theory.